God, this series is so good. Okay, so we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, my favorite relationship in Arcane. And it's definitely the relationship between Jinx and Silco. Oh man, is this relationship amazing. And it's so much more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Because going into it, I originally thought that the relationship was going to be a father daughter relationship, like a twisted father daughter relationship. Then, as the relationship began to progress and I got further into Arcane, I went, okay, no, not a father daughter relationship, maybe more Joker and Harley Quinn. And I was wrong again. This relationship is definitely something new. And it completely caught me off guard when I finally realized what it was. But it's a monster and a monster relationship. And what I mean by that is, for Silco, when he perceived himself to be a normal man, was when him and Vonder were brothers. And they were more or less surviving together in the lower city. When Vonder made that decision to kill him, when he was in the river drowning, the man that he was died. And what replaced that man was essentially a monster. A monster that was willing to do whatever it takes to survive and also accomplish his goals. Stabs Vonder, he gets away, and he begins creating his own criminal empire in opposition to Vonder's peace with the peacekeepers. We flash forward and he finally kills Vonder. He kills Vonder the way in which he feels as though he should have killed him by the river. Knocks him off the ledge, Vonder comes back, he destroys the entire thing, Vonder dies, and what does Silco happen upon? He happens upon a little girl who's basically going through the exact same thing that he did. Now, at first, I thought that this, like I said earlier, I thought it was going to be a father-daughter relationship when she's crying into his chest and he takes her in. I'm like, oh, okay, he's going to raise her. He's going to raise her to essentially be super twisted. No. Later on, you would assume, I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be a Joker relationship where, he's the Joker, he's already a monster, he finds Powder, he turns her into Jinx, Harley Quinn, and he unleashes her essentially on the city. No. Because as the relationship progresses, you realize that not only is Silco a monster, but Jinx is a monster as well. And they're really the only two characters who actually understand each other. Like, no matter how many times Silco's men are basically coming to him like, yo, you need to clip her. You need to put clamps on her and lock her down because she's acting absolutely fucking wild. Shut this entire situation down. He's like, no, I can't do that. You see, Jinx is the type of creature who she should run free and be able to do and live however it is that she wants. And you think that it's feeding into his master plan. He doesn't tell her about Vi. But the reason why he doesn't tell her about Vi is because he realizes that Vi is this thing that's essentially always going to be eating away at her. So he lies. And Jinx loses her shit. And the very first time I started to realize the real type of relationship they had is when she's giving him the eye drop. The first time she's super careful, like it's almost like loving the way in which she drops the chemical into his eye to help with his healing and his scarring. The second time she does it, she's actually torturing him, and I'm like, okay, so this would be the moment where in most normal stories, the character realizes that they fucked up and they may have created a monster, and then he decides to sell out his monster and his creation to save himself. Nah, son, Silco ain't about that life. What made me realize how great the relationship was is the dinner scene, which is Powder basically kidnaps Caitlyn, she has Vi, and she has Silco. And Silco's gagged, and he can't speak because he's gagged. And essentially Jinx is asking Vi, she's like, what do you want me to be? Do you want me to be your loving sister again? Or would you like me to be and remain as Jinx because you don't want anything to do with me? But if you want me to be your sister again, you're gonna have to kill, you know, your girlfriend. Vi's like, no, I'm not gonna kill Caitlyn. Please come back over and be Powder again so that we can be sisters again. And in this situation, she's done beaten you, tortured you, kidnapped you, and she has him in the seat tied up, straight up gagged. And you would think that it would be self-preservation for Silco, that Silco would be like, yeah, go with, because you're used to that in other stories, like, yeah, go with your sister and, you know, go live your happy life and do whatever you want and just get out of my city and blah blah blah, because that was what Vi had put on the table, basically her and Powder just leaving and disappearing. When that gag came off, my man held nothing back. He was like, what? Powder? He was like, your name ain't Powder no more. Your name is Jinx. You're a monster, just like me. He was like, your sister, Vonder, all of them, they made you weak. Only me and you together. Like, it was such a unexpected, I don't know, it was such an unexpected reaction where he actually took offense and was pissed off to the idea that she would even consider going back to being Powder, that she would go back to the person that she was before, who was weak. Because from the way in which Silco sees it, they shed off their weakness and they died. The people who they were died in the river, which is another great scene, which is when he takes her to the river and he baptizes her in the river to essentially wow, I can't get rebirth out and I can't get reborn out, but essentially he brings her back to the idea that Powder is dead. You are Jinx. This is who you are. This is who we are. And it's not a like I said, a father-daughter relationship. It's not a relationship built on love. And it's not a Joker Harley relationship where it's a relationship built on conniving and controlling the other person to do what you want through threats and violence. It is a symbiotic monster relationship. For Silco, the moment he met Powder, Powder was the piece of him that, in all honesty, he was missing ever since Vonder attempted to kill him. And the idea that she would essentially stop being a monster and go back to being Powder was so anathemic to his existence that he could not let that happen in any way, shape, or form. Like, this is who you are. This is who we are. It is us against the world. He fucking meant that shit, because he was always looking out for her no matter what she did. He was always understanding when she was losing her shit. Like, even when he was super pissed off at her, he still went to her to get, like, her side of the situation, to see where she was coming from and what happened. And he understood the mental problems that she was dealing with, because for up until the point when he killed Vonder, he was also dealing with those exact same mental issues, where Vonder was essentially the boogeyman living inside of his head. Love it. Absolutely love. I love all the relationships, and I really feel as I'm gonna take some time to go through all the different relationships in the series, because you have the traditional parent relationship between Vonder and Vi. Then you have the traditional mentor relationship between Caitlyn and, I cannot remember the main peacekeeper chick, where you don't realize just how important she is to the personality that Caitlyn currently has until you get that flashback where they're training out in the woods. You have the broken mentor relationship between Jace and Heimerdinger, where Jace believes that progress as fast as possible is the most important thing, and then Heimerdinger's like, yo, I'm been alive for like 300 years. That's not how it's actually supposed to work. Then you have the new blossoming relationship between Heimerdinger and Echo, which is essentially Heimerdinger seeing that he spent so much time up there that he completely forgot what it was like working to help the people who were essentially down here in the lower city. But yeah, this is just basically like the first video of the Arcane relationship series, because there's definitely going to be like 4 more or maybe 5 more, because I keep like I said, your boy stayed up watching this whole series over again until like 4 a.m. and I was so tired. I was so tired. But yeah, this is the end of the, well, hopefully not the end of the Jinx and Silco relationship, because I really feel as though he may either come back as a new demon in her psyche, or your boy ain't dead and he'll come back for season 2. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so very much. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you in the next one. Or not. I won't catch you in the next one. Oh, I have such a stuffy nose. It's absolutely horrible.